All right, so if we're going to do it in Max, it'd pretty much be the same methodology. It's just different tool, obviously. So I would take this low res out of here. So I'm going to say File, Exporter, and then I'm going to say, make sure I don't need any of these options on right now. Export. I'm going to go ahead and go to, we'll call this DownresWall Max, and then plain. And then I'm going to take both of them. So I want both of them because I want to be able to make sure I have a backstop on my final bricks. I'm going to say export again. Actually, I might as well, let me check one thing here. Yep. I might as well export these out as both objects and with the group polygroups as materials, so that way I can use it inside a substance as well. So I'll say export, and I will say this one, and we'll call it, I should have said low instead of plain, but I'll call this high. Okay, then we'll go back into Max, and I will say File, Import, Import. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to change the name of this one real quick while I have the chance. Low. Okay, I'm going to open this one. And I want to get it at least the same size. Remember I talked about scale is always an issue, so I want to make sure I have it the same size. This is the same one. And then what I want to do is actually import the high one too this time. So I'm going to say import, import, high, open. Okay, so I've got it in. Now I have one object here. Hopefully, let me see. Yeah, what it did is it brought both those two in at the same time. So I'm going to go back to front real quick. I'm going to go with this, that, turn that off actually. And then I'm going to take it inside here, look inside my tiling master. Okay, so what it did is when I brought in the bricks, since it brought in as two separate objects, it brought the bricks, it just didn't overwrite the tiling master. So that's fine, we don't need two of them. We can take this first one like I was originally going to do anyway. Now let's see which one I have selected, this one. Control V, and I'm going to make sure it's a copy. I'm going to call this, it doesn't really matter, because what I'm going to end up doing with that one is I'm going to hide, in my case, the master one, the first one. And then I'm going to grab the high-res bricks, which are, if we push 7, you can see the poly count. There are 1,000,000 polys. That's fine. Max can handle it. And I'm going to say attach, and I'm going to attach that low plane. And it doesn't matter about the material IDs because we're not using this in Substance. We're just doing this to get the high-res. Okay, I'm going to turn off the wireframes here so we can see it. And then I'm going to unhide the other one. Just like this. Oh, cancel. I still have the attach on. Always forget to push that. Right click. Open this back up real quick. Take that. Move it forward. Like this. So I just want this in front of the bricks like that. I don't want to move it X and Y. I just want it in front. So I'm going to go F again. And then I'm going to come up to, if you don't have this toolbar showing up here, it just means it's hidden. So you click on this button, it takes a second, it drops down. If I'm in Editable Poly, it'll show up here. It's content sensitive, so no matter what you're working in, it changes. And we want to go over to Freeform. And inside of Freeform, we have similar tools that we had in ZBrush. There are different names, of course. But we're going to conform this plane to this brick. With the amount of polys we have, we should get something very similar. But to do that, we have to tell it to not conform to the grid because that's what it defaults to. We're going to say draw on surface. And then we're going to say pick. And we're going to pick this high res one, and now it's going to say bricks. It's going to draw on the surface of bricks with the object I have selected. And if I come over here to conform, my brain can talk here. And I go back to front, and I can see, I'm going to zoom out and move it over, and then just do this. Let's see what I get. And then I'm going to hide unselected and take a look at this. And it's really close. It's not perfect by any means. One of the things we did on the other one, right, is we got rid of some of these edges here. So to do it in Max, the way I do it is I go to 2 for editable edge, and then I come up to this tool up here, and if you go to modeling, there's this under modify section tab, there's this dot loop. So if I click that, it goes to every other one. The only problem with that one in this case is it gets rid of this. So maybe if I do this, it'll be better. And if I take this one, it'll go every other one. Yeah, that works better. So I'm gonna Alt L to get the edge all the way selected down, and then I'm going to Control Backspace, sorry. The only thing I also want to do is I want to make sure this is straight. So this is one of the things that I'm not crazy about in Max, that it doesn't keep these. So all I have to do is go to Y, and I have to go to Y. Okay, so the other thing you might notice is, let's take a look and see if this worked. If we take this over and we say Shift and drag a copy of it, and then we snap it, so I'll turn on snap real quick, like that. Well, see, they don't quite match up, which is a pain in the butt. I'm going to turn off the snap again and come pull this up to here. And grab both of these. Okay, so I've made them the same color. So the big problem is that there's a couple of places they don't match up perfectly, and that's the thing that, with a flat plane, it makes it easier. Honestly, most of the time what you're going to see is you're going to model the environment and then throw the texture on top of it, because it's going to be a texture used across several objects. But I'll just snap the master one to the right positions like this, like that. And since I'm snapping this edge to essentially this edge, it should make this edge now attached to that edge. So let me just do this one to there. I know they look like they're snapped, but I'm making sure. They could be a little bit off, and that could make your seams be weird. So, okay. You can see they're moving just the slightest bit, and that's what we want. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to turn off my snap, because really what I want to be able to do is just shift and drag a copy of this in one direction, and then when I don't want to move it forward or back by accident. I want to make sure if I go straight across, if they match up, now I can snap, since I know that they're all lined up there. There. Okay, so there we got that. Now, I'm going to take this, turn off my snap, make sure your unwrap is all right, and it should be fine in this one, but when you bring your ZBrush in, it may be off. You want to make sure it's 100%, because remember, if we want to use those side-baked ones, the ones that we made from in ZBrush, then we want to make sure that it fills the exact same amount of area. And even if we do bake it in ZBrush with the high res, with these being stretched theoretically, since it's being baked in Substance, it's going to be fine because it's using those bakes. All right, and that's it. And then you export it back out. File, export, selected. We'll go to Geo, and we'll say Max Low Wall. Come up with better naming. Okay, and you're gonna do the same thing with your ZBrush model. To import it in here, check the UVs on it. That's all you're doing. You want to make sure your edges match up again. If they don't, then you need to kind of do what I just did and go through one side with the matched over there. And then you're good to go. And that's it. Then we go into Substance, which I'll do a video on after.